Hey there, thank you for joining me again on another Friday sales tip with me, the real Jason Duncan. And here we are on the first full week of 2021. This is the first Friday sales tip of the year. I've been doing these Friday sales tips for over a year and a half now, and I appreciate you following this content. If you are a professional salesperson, an entrepreneur, a leader, I hope that you're finding this content helpful. Today in our tip, I want to talk about setting goals, specifically SMART goals. Now, this idea of SMART goals has been around for a very long time. And SMART is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So if you're going to set goals, and of course a lot of people this year are setting goals in this week, they're taking time to look at their 2021 and they're setting goals related to their sales and revenue. Maybe it's prospecting objectives that you've got to hit, and you're setting those goals. Well, that's fantastic. You need to set those goals. Those goals are a way to keep you on track to make sure that you actually accomplish the things that you're setting out to accomplish. But if you don't make them SMART, then they might perhaps miss the mark. A lot of people set New Year's resolutions, and those resolutions are in fact goals in many ways, but if they're not written down and they're not specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, then they're just dumb goals. They're resolutions that we're going to forget about at the end of January, and we move into February just wishing that we had stuck with it. So here's what I want to do today. I want to go through and help you in this Friday sales tip video and really dive in to what this acronym SMART means in setting SMART goals. And I want to give you a few tips on how to do this. So stay with me because you want to hear this. All right, so let's look at the first S, the first letter in SMART, and that is the letter S, which means specific. So if you're going to set a goal, you need to be very specific. Now, if we're talking about sales goals, a goal that you might have this year is, I want to make more money than I made last year. I want to make more commissions. That's a fantastic achievement that you want to reach out to. You want to have that as a goal. That's something you're aiming for. But that isn't specific. Now, if you made $100,000 last year, $200,000 in commissions, or $500,000, it doesn't matter how much you made or how little you made. If you say, I just want to make more this year, that's fantastic. But more is not specific. More needs to be specific. So if you say more, is it 10% more? Is it 5% more? Is it 100% more? What number is that? So if you want to make your goals as a salesperson SMART, you need to make sure that is, first of all, specific. And if it's not specific, then it isn't a SMART goal. It is a dumb goal. Don't set dumb goals, set SMART goals. The second letter in our acronym SMART goals, is M, and it stands for measurable. And measurable helps you get specific. Measurable means, can you measure it? Is there a specific metric that you can use that will tell you whether or not you hit that goal? So if I said, hey, I want to make more money, I want to sell more deals, I want to talk to more people, I want to prospect better, none of that's very specific because it's not measurable. More isn't really a measurable thing. Now, so how could you make it measurable? So for instance, if your goal is to make more money this year, you could say, I want to make 10% more than I made last year. Well, that's great, but that's specific, but is it measurable? The only way to measure that is to know what you made last year. So you go back and look at your income statement last year and you say, okay, I made $123,000 last year in commissions. I want to make more. I want to make 10% more. So that would be $12,300 more. That's 10% of that number. That makes it measurable. Now, how you measure against that is completely up to you. You may need to track that on a weekly basis, a quarterly basis, maybe a monthly basis, and you need to make sure that you're tracking towards your goal by the measure that you set out to begin with. So making a SMART goal as a salesperson starts with making it specific, and then it's about making it measurable. The third letter in our acronym SMART and SMART goals is A, and that stands for achievable or attainable. Either one, they're interchangeable. You could say achievable or attainable. Now, for example, you said, I want to make more money next year. I'm going to make more money in 2021, right? That's not specific. It's not measurable. So you can be specific. Okay, I want to make 30% more, and I'm going to measure that by looking at what I made last year, knowing exactly what that 30% is, and that 30%, you need to decide, is that achievable? Is it attainable? Can I actually accomplish that? Can I do it? Now, if you're in an industry where you see 1 or 2% gains year over year, and you're wanting to do 30% gains, that's probably not achievable. You need to make sure that you're being honest with yourself, because if you set a goal that's fantastic, it's lofty, it's a big goal, but it isn't achievable, what you're doing is you're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for a way that there's no way to reach that, and therefore you're going to feel like I failed, I didn't meet my goal. So make sure that it's not only specific, it's not only measurable, but it's attainable. It's something that you can actually attain. So for you, it may be 10% more, or maybe a flat dollar amount. I want to make this year, I've never cracked 6 figures. I want to make $100,000 this year. Well, that's fine, but you're not going to know that until December. So maybe you need to make it attainable at a quarterly basis. Say I need to make $25,000 each quarter or something like that. Make sure that it's specific, measurable, and achievable or attainable. You can interchange those terms either way. The next letter is R in SMART. That's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant. The R stands for relevant. Now, a lot of times we might think, well, heck, why would I make a goal that isn't relevant? Well, a lot of times we do make goals that aren't relevant. So for example, if your goal here in the year 2021 as a salesperson is to make more money, and you say you've decided I want to make 10% more, and that 10% change translates into a dollar amount of X dollars, then you need to say, okay, is that relevant? Well, of course, as a salesperson, we're incentivized to make more money. Our commission structure, the way that we're paid, so that in fact would be relevant. But what's an irrelevant goal? Well, an irrelevant goal to your job as a professional salesperson is your weight. You know, a lot of people want to lose weight, so that's fine, but that's not relevant to your job specifically, and unless you're selling health related services or products. Of course, you need to make sure that whatever goal you set is relevant to what it is you're trying to accomplish. So if it's a health goal, that needs to be relevant to a health related goal. If it's a money goal, it needs to be related or relevant to finances. So make sure that your goals, in order for them to be SMART, that they're specific, measurable, achievable, relevant. It needs to be relevant. And then the final letter in our SMART acronym is T, and that stands for time bound. Now, this one is the one that most people overlook. They don't put a time on it. They make it specific and they make it measurable. And of course, they typically make them achievable and they are relevant. But a lot of times we forget to put the time on it. Now, why is time so important to goals? Now, this is why. Because if you just say, I want to make more money, I want to make 10% more money, and that 10% more money will equate to $25,000 more in my pocket, that is specific, measurable, attainable, and is relevant. But by when? You've got to make sure that the when is included. So for example, if it's a 2021 goal, then you could put your time bound by December 31st, 2021, right? That would be a time bound. But I want to caution you, if you're going to make SMART goals, is to really think about how you can bring that time bound nature into more specific, shorter time frames. Because if it's just 12 months into the future, 12 months is a long time to watch how your goal is being progressed through that time. So I would pick quarters or months. So if your goal is to make an extra $100,000 this year, maybe that's 25 grand a quarter. Or maybe that's some number per month that you can actually write down and track. So there you have it. That's how to make a SMART goal. It's got to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. If you want to be a professional salesperson and you really want to do what's good this year to build your career as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as a professional salesperson, right now, this week, right now before you move on into any further into 21, sit down and make SMART goals. And if you would like some help with that, you can reach out with this link. You can book a 20-minute compatibility call with me as an RTI coach and sit down with you, and we can decide if I'm compatible to help you in a paid session to work through your SMART goals for 2021. Everybody needs a coach. If you're going to be a really good salesperson, you need a coach, and I'd be honored to look at how I might be able to help you with that. Thank you for following me. Thank you for being with me on Instagram and LinkedIn at The Real Jason Duncan. Thank you for following me and subscribing to my YouTube channel for content just like this every Friday when I publish a new tip on the Friday Sales Tip. I will see you next week, and until then, remember, Jesus is King.